If you operate in a complex B2B environment like advanced materials or specialty chemicals or enterprise software, global manufacturing, and your marketing spend isn't translating into market leadership, you have two options. Option one is to spend a lot of money. Take the message you already have and spend more money to put it in front of more prospects in more places more often. If you have it to spend, you can just spend the money. Option two is to fix your message, because right now you're telling them your story and you want them to sit still while you tell it. It's a lot easier and cheaper and faster to tell them their story with you in it and make it memorable, so they don't need 20 exposures before they call you. They need 7 or 3 or 1. This video is for people interested in option 2, fixing what they say to prospects before or instead of spending a lot of money. I'm going to touch on 5 concepts that'll help you understand how to do that. First is the fractured day. Second is the need for certainty. Third is the 3 levels of messages. Fourth is how prospects look at you. And the fifth is doing 90%. There are more things in the list, but these 5 will fix most of your problems fast. Okay, first, here's the prospect's day. The higher up they are, the more fractured their day gets. They're constantly firefighting. They're dealing with supply chain delays or labor shortages or threats to production quotas or timelines. The white parts are the handful of minutes between meetings and interruptions and focused work when they get to do what they want, but not for long. They can grab coffee, they can eat, they can even go to the bathroom. And while they do any of those things, they're on the lookout for a welcome distraction. You do this every day, and when you want to shift focus for a few minutes. This is almost always some kind of cleaning, deleting emails, checking and deleting voicemails, clearing social media notifications. Everyone has their own version of cleaning that they do every day at work, something they can relax with and accomplish in a few minutes. When you're trying to get a new prospect's attention, you need to live in those gaps. If you're acting like your marketing or sales message lives anywhere else in that person's day, you're either going to fail cheaply or succeed expensively. You're definitely not going to succeed cheaply. Every prospect that you're trying to interrupt lives a very full and distracted life. And if your company disappeared tomorrow, their tomorrow would still be a very full and distraction-filled day. Any first approach that assumes people are going to give you a big chunk of their time and attention for free to learn about you will fail with almost all of them. The first step to solving a problem is admitting reality. You live in the gaps where they're looking for a welcome distraction, something to clean, some kind of accomplishment. Okay, second, stop prevaricating. Whenever any prospect reads anything from any vendor, they want to relax into certainty as quickly as possible. That means your message needs to be clear, and most important, it needs to assert. You're not going to be aggressive. Nobody wants you to be aggressive. But you can't be vague, and you can't use "don't hurt me" type of language. You need to assert. Language like enhanced durability or optimized supply solutions seems like it'd convey safety and assurance, but it actually leaves the prospect in doubt. So instead, in your messaging, your claims are truths. Full stop. Not maybes, truths. If you say it, it's a truth expressed as simple, declarative sentences. And if you're worried that your legal department won't let you commit to things in your marketing and sales messages, don't worry about that. There are many ways to say something as a simple declarative statement that doesn't put you on the hook or get you in trouble with legal. I've been the head copywriter at clients where lawyers had to read every single word before it went out. It can definitely be done. Third, there are 3 levels of messages that come from marketing and sales. Level 1 is informational. 99% of everything you ever share with a prospect or customer will be informational, but that doesn't get anyone interested in the first place. Level 2, aspirational messaging, is where you win. It's the difference between talking about what you sell and what your customer achieves. Informational says, this is who we are and what we sell, or this is who we are and what we do. Aspirational flips it around, talks to the reader or listener or viewer, and says, you could be better or different. Your company could be better. Your company could be different. Here's an example. Level 1 informational says, we manufacture high-performance interlayer films for automotive glass. Level 2, aspirational, says, you can design the quietest cabin in the EV segment. It's not about the film you sell, it's about the car they're building. Aspirational means them achieving operational excellence or getting a competitive edge in their market. Transformational, by the way, is the 3rd level. You're not going to use transformational. It's very rare in B2B, and it always seems fake when companies try to use it. The underlying message in transformational is you could be new. That's just not a message you see in B2B very often. Another way to think about informational and aspirational is that every early message has to contain hope, and then as the reader moves down through the funnel, there's less and less hope in your message and more information. There shouldn't be dry data in the first few moments of your first contact with a prospect. On the other hand, there shouldn't be any hope on a spec sheet or a price list. At the bottom of the funnel, you're beyond the need to make claims. In case you were wondering about the whole hope thing and how it fits into B2B marketing, there's a permanent need to be professional in B2B messaging, and the amount of emotion that needs to be part of a B2B message is a lot lower than what you'd see in B2C, but the amount of emotion is lower, not zero. It's never zero at the top of the funnel. The fourth concept is how prospects categorize you. Whatever you put in front of them instantly gets sorted into one of 4 categories: urgent, different, postponable, and junk. Urgent is very difficult to achieve with messaging at the top of a B2B funnel. Postponable means that they see it's going to require focused attention, so they mark it back as unread in their inbox. You've done this. And then they move on. Junk is exactly what you think it is. And different is where you're going to spend most of your time. When it comes to early approach messaging, the good news is almost none of your competitors bother to be different. They're all talking about themselves 24/7. The bad news is that it takes work to construct a message that's going to pop out to a prospect at a company somewhere. But if you want to succeed cheaply, different is your category. And different can be as simple as talking about a bottleneck the prospect didn't think was solvable. If you're the only vendor talking to them about something, then you're different. And finally, fifth, you know that you need to live in those little gaps inside someone's busy day. You know you have to use assertive language, be aspirational, and you know you need to be different. And then fifth is you have to do 90% of that reader's thinking and feeling for them before you show up in their life, because they are not going to meet you halfway. Let's say it's a VP of operations at an OEM. They're not going to put in the time or attention or emotional investment to figure out if what you're saying is important or interesting or applicable to the company. So you're trying to create this one moment when they come into contact with your messaging, and they think, my boss is going to want to talk to these guys. And then they project forward mentally and imagine the conversation with their boss or the team or a committee or procurement. Everybody has to give in somebody. And they anticipate the questions that their boss is going to ask them. If, before they get to that stage of mentally projecting, they have to do half of the work of understanding if your product is applicable to their problem or their company, you're spending the time they would use to help sell you inside their company to make them do work for you that you could have done for them. They need to feel safe that they can vouch for you to their boss. So you have to do 100% of your communication work and 90% of their comprehension work, so that they'll do the remaining 10% and then some of their boss's comprehension work. And that's how it goes. Actually, you know what? Let's do a sixth one. It's called worst day ever. Assume the person you're trying to interrupt is having their worst day ever. For them, it's not just a busy inbox, it's a production line shutdown or a material failure or a quality control breach. If you create a message that still cuts through that kind of noise, you'll win. Okay, so create your messaging with those 6 things in mind, and you'll start seeing improvements. And if you want to spend a lot of money later, go for it, because when you do, you'll already have a message that works. I hope this helps you.